Hi guys, I'm Abhinav. I'm here at the ABR Festival in the UK at the Royal Enfield stand, and I have somebody who's been an inspiration globe over. In fact, we have Vanessa Ruck here, the girl on a bike. Vanessa, a few years ago when you started doing videos, we got to know about your story. An absolutely inspirational story. Somebody who went through a life-changing experience to then take up motorcycling, and how you've gone to places across the world that most people will probably never have the opportunity to. You've ridden rally races, and you were very recently in the Himalayas.
I was indeed. I feel very grateful for some of the opportunities that I've had to be able to ride. I've ridden in 33 countries now,
Wow.
and I've done some of the toughest extreme desert races in the world. Obviously, I'm doing it all managing chronic pain after my accident, but I'm
Yeah.
just on a mission to show that the past doesn't have to control your future and that we can do things every day to try and make every day a better day, find the positives, even if
Right.
we're in pain or we've got struggles, and everyone in life has struggles and battles.
True.
It's just trying to adapt and cope with them. And yeah, I literally just got back from the Himalayas,
Yeah.
which, if you think about the fact that I've ridden in 33 countries, which is quite a few on a motorcycle, it's up there. It's possibly my favorite
Oh, is it?
I've ridden in.
Not because you were just there?
No, so Iceland is one of my other favorites. Iceland is like wet and cold and disgusting, but the scenery and the in riding you get to do is incredible. But the Himalayas added the culture, added the food, the I've been in the Alps, I've been in the
Yeah.
Dolomites,
Yeah.
and they're big, they're jugged, but the Himalayas are on a magnitude of like
Yeah, the
nothing
grandeur
I've
of the
seen.
Himalayas is just something unseen.
It makes you feel about this big.
Yeah.
And I was very grateful to be able to do the Himalayas on a motorcycle that I trusted.
Yeah.
I saw lots of people broken down, and I had a bike that I knew that when I was going up over this 16, 17, 18,000 foot path with, winds coming in and blizzards, I knew I was going to continue riding down to the other side.
Yeah.
And I think the equipment that you have in the
Yeah.
Himalayas is really important because you are this big and the weather can change in an instant. A landslide can cut the road off, and it's one wild adventure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you just mentioned that the kit you carry is extremely important. I would like you to delve a little deeper on bike prep, ride prep, and just the mental prep, because I think no matter what you might have, if mentally you're not right there, if you're not tough enough, it'll break you down.
Yeah, so we had a plan.
Okay.
And I'm going to say it was a plan, it was loose. We knew roughly where we wanted to sleep each night. So we
Okay.
had the goal of our sort of a dots on the map of this beautiful loop. We did about 1,700 kilometers in 8 days. And other than that, we were fluid. We knew that we had the bikes planned, we had all of our equipment, but we knew that every day we'd have to read what the mountains were saying, what the weather was doing, talk to locals, and make sure that we had the best route for what was available in the day. Preparation wise, we made sure we had the right kit for the weather conditions. Lots of layering. So
Right.
the temperature variation we had was -4 in a blizzard on the top of Shinkla Pass,
Right.
which I think felt like more like -30 with the wind
Oh yeah,
chill.
with the wind chill,
And
yeah.
so we had
Yeah.
heated jackets.
Yeah.
The Himalayan didn't mind at all having the extra current being pulled from it. I think I probably have died without my heated jacket. I'm not as tough as some of the extreme people that do cold. And then through layering, we were able to then also ride in 26 degrees on
Yeah.
the sunnier
Yeah.
days as we got back towards Leh. So the equipment was really important. The altitude was a whole
Yeah.
new thing.
Yeah.
Had to do a lot of research to make sure that we were best equipped for success with the altitude. I think there's a mentality with some areas of life where you can just man up and push through. But with altitude sickness, it's serious.
Yeah,
have
you
to-
can't really do much about it.
can't
Yeah.
push. You've got
Yeah.
to respect the body,
Right.
respect the oxygen levels, and thankfully all three of us were okay. But we did 2 days acclimatization in Leh.
In Leh, yeah.
We relaxed, we drank loads of water, we made sure we got oxygen cylinders, just so we had them as backup, and we did the go up, come down. So our route plan was such that we started at Leh, which is already,
Yeah.
what, 12,600
About
feet or
11, 10
something.
and a half, 11,000 feet.
So
Yeah.
you're already getting off an aeroplane
Yeah.
to, where's the air?
Yeah.
I was puffing, pulling my bag out of the airport to the taxi. 2 days there, and we started to breathe a little bit more easily. But then our route plan took us up and then brought us down, and then took us a bit higher and brought us down until we got to day 6, where we did the Umling La,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
highest motorizable
Yeah.
road in the world, 19,024 feet. And I didn't know if we were going to make it to the top.
Did you?
Some bodies, you start to feel nausea, you get sick, you've got to respect the altitude.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we made it. And when you get part way up, you get to the sign that says you are now higher than Everest
Yeah,
Base
that's
Camp.
pretty cool.
And you're like, this
Yeah,
is cool.
yeah.
This is really cool. And the views, the roads, the twisties, everything was absolutely spectacular. The accommodation was part of experiencing the Himalayas. We had some very basic homestays.
Right. Yeah.
And beautiful families opening their doors to welcome you in. You're sitting on the floor in their living room,
Yeah.
eating their home
Yeah.
cooked food. It was a wonderful experience. I wasn't quite expecting that we would be able to shower for 4 of the days, but whatever, I didn't smell that much. It's fine, you can go about showers.
Yeah. Just put on some merino wool base layers and you won't stink.
Exactly, just more
Yeah.
perfume. And ride faster so no one can smell you.
Yeah.
But that was such a beautiful part of the culture, eating the local food, being with the locals, learning their way of life. Then the bike, what preparation did we do to the bike?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Really?
That bike was made for the Himalayas. And
Were you okay
we
with the stock
trusted that.
tires?
Yep, we had the stock tires. We obviously put luggage on.
Right.
So we were a group of 3, my husband, a friend and myself, and we decided to try and test the variations of how you could do panniers on a Himalayan, just as one of the things that I can share with people
Right.
about the experience. So we had one bike with the OEM hard panniers,
Yeah.
one bike with a rack on it to then strap just a random roll bag
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
and then one bike with nothing, and we used the Moscow Moto
Right.
rackless
The rackless.
panniers,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to give us the variation of how does the bike handle with the different luggage options. The bike doesn't give a monkeys.
Did you try all 3 combos?
Yep. Each bike had one of the 3 different combos, and so we went quite minimal on our kit. We made sure we had loads of road stacks, which was
Right, yeah,
important because there
yeah.
were definitely days when
Yeah.
there's not food out there, so we took protein bars and got some really nice nuts and dried fruit when we were in Leh.
Nice.
The pineapple, I don't know why that was so incredible. I don't know if the altitude makes food taste better, but
I think that's the case.
so much good food out there. And the bikes, I didn't falter. I might have dropped my bike. We all drop motorbikes.
Oh, we all do.
Going up over Shinkla Pass again. We did do other passes. This one was just a pretty epic adventure because a storm came in as we were getting there.
Yeah.
Now we'd had the pass before, which the name is forgotten, has lost me right now. We hit a traffic jam,
Okay.
and the pass was gridlocked for about 4 hours.
Wow.
I think there's a slightly aggressive mentality in some of the truck drivers that it's like me.
Yeah. They don't want to break.
When you get
Yeah.
2 of them,
Yeah.
and it was 10 kilometers of gridlock of
Wow.
cars and trucks
Wow.
and motorbikes,
Wow.
and there were probably 25 or 30 motorbikes all stopped. We caught up with that, having hustled through maybe 3k of traffic, and all the bikes were stopped, and we were like, no, beep, we've got to get through, we've got to keep going.
Nice.
The cars and the trucks, they're okay. If they're
Yeah.
still up there at nightfall, they've got a body to protect them, like a shell.
Yeah.
On a motorbike, you're going to be in trouble being up there
Absolutely,
at night. And
absolutely.
my husband, Annika, and I were like, we've got to keep moving. And so we managed to get past these motorbikes and started to continue to shuffle through and get trucks to nudge a little bit. At one point, there was a gap too small for our panniers. So we took the panniers off and we had to like lift
Oh, wow.
the bikes round and get the bikes through. Next thing we know, we've got 30 motorbikes following us.
Wow, that's
They're
quite an
well,
adventure.
Those guys are getting through. And we were just like this, not a mob, but we were like the motorbike gang of, we're coming through. And we got so far through. And then it got to the real crux of the traffic. And thankfully the military, the Indian Army came in and started to order people around. But we got off the mountain in about 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
So it was a long one. And we were at that altitude as well. I think it was around 17,000 foot peak. So a decent altitude to be for a long period of time. There was actually one point where we were going undertaking a truck, and there was this bank of snow.
Okay.
And I was like, if I kick the snow out the way, we'll make enough of a pass. So I'm there kicking away. Oh, there's no oxygen up here. And I quickly realised the altitude we were at, had a few puffs of the oxygen, calmed my heart down, and went, oh, remember to respect the altitude. But we then get to the bottom of Shinkla Pass at about 3 p.m. And the military guy on the checkpoint was like, I'm really sorry, you're too late.
Yeah.
It's not safe to go up over the pass now. There's a storm coming in. You won't make it in time. And we're like, it's not like you can just take the other road round or just stop at a different hotel or motel or whatever. And we just sort of said to the guy, look, we're experienced riders. This is where we're planning to get to. And we are in good kit. We've got heated jackets. We've got thermal, decent gloves. And bearing in mind, you see people up there in shorts and flip-flops. I don't know how their toes don't fall off. But the military guy immediately was like, you know what, you're fine. You're in the right kit. I'm happy that you proceed. So we carry on going, and this is where we see a guy with a really old motorcycle pushing it down the hill, and he flags us over to help him, and we've got nothing. We've got nothing for his bike. I suspect he had a carb freeze over. And I've since heard from him on social media he's still alive, thankfully, because we had to leave him.
Yeah.
There was nothing
That's tough, yeah.
And we make it up over this pass, and it was on the way up, we hit this really slushy, snowy bit, and I just hit a piece of ice underneath the snow. And it was like going down, and I just jumped clear. There's a video of it on my Instagram, and I just jumped quite straight clear. My poor Himalayan down in the snow, his little tank sort of blending in because he's got the beautiful, not this one, the beautiful Himalayan snow paint job.
Yeah.
And didn't bother at all.
Was it easy to pick up there?
So I'll be honest, I went to pick it up and I quickly realised because I was on ice, as soon as you go to pick it up, it just slid.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I could have figured it out, but we're a team of 3.
Yeah.
We're at altitude.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
We were on Narcado intercoms. I was just like, husband, please can you come help me? So he came and helped me, and then we had the 3 of us. It was all on camera. So the YouTube series will be brilliant.
Yeah, really looking forward to that, by the way.
Like this with our legs and the ice, like getting our way through.
If you were to point out 3 specific things that you liked about the motorcycle in the Himalayas, what would they be?
The size.
Yeah.
So it is quite a heavy bike. It's not a little enduro bike or anything like that, but it is a small adventure bike. So it is really manageable. I think for the confidence for anyone wanting a motorcycle that can sit at 110 on the road, really comfortable, but also be really manageable off-road.
Yeah.
It's a really good choice because it's got a very low seat height, it's quite narrow, the weight is really low and balanced, so it makes it very manageable off-road. It's just under 200 kilos, it does mean you're going to want to learn some techniques for picking up a motorcycle, but I'm not big. And I can pick up a 256 kilo motorcycle.
Yeah, we've seen that.
It's technique.
Yeah.
So for most people, it's a really manageable bike, and for different size people as well.
Right.
The power, I think there's this maybe trend where you need a really big, powerful motorcycle. Like you don't. My race bike that I do, I've just finished the original DAP.
Yeah.
Is a 450.
Yeah.
You don't need a massive 1200 motorcycle to go out and adventure ride. That bike had all of the panniers I could need on it, me, and all the power I could want. The fact that the new Himalayan is fuel injection was fantastic for the altitude because it just adapts and adjusts.
Right, yeah.
Maybe there's going to be a little bit of power loss. Go up.
Yeah.
Come on, I could hardly breathe. The poor motorbike's doing combustion.
Did it struggle while climbing Numlingla?
It did not struggle.
Yeah?
It did not struggle at all.
Were you in the first or the second?
No. Oh, no, it was drivable.
Yeah?
So on Umlingla, we went all the way up to the top, came all the way back down, and there's these beautiful little tents at the bottom.
Yeah.
And they have the most amazing milk masala tea. They had chocolate bars, and they had rice and stuff, but we just had tea and chocolate. And we were sat in there just reflecting on how incredible this pass was. And went to get my microphone out and realised that Annika had dropped part of the microphone next to the "You're now at higher than Everest Base Camp" sign. And I was like, we can't do the rest of the trip without a mic.
Yeah, true.
And I just said, right, you two stay here. I'll jump on the bike. and I'll go back up.
Uh-huh.
Secretly, really excited because I could ride it like I stole it. Just
Right,
me.
right.
And I rode it like I stole it. I'm really sorry. The bike's totally fine, but I pushed it to its limit. I
Yeah.
was like not redlining, but pushing the gears, dropping it down the gears. And my goodness, when you ask that bike to go, it goes.
Oh yeah, it does.
It's
It does. I
so
can vouch for that.
fun.
Yeah.
The power, the shifting. I was like leaning around the corners.
Yeah.
I had so much fun hammering it up that mountain pass.
Yeah.
Found the little piece of my mic
Yeah. Congratulations.
and then came back down again. I think it was about 40k of just
Right.
pure fun.
Yeah.
That bike doesn't struggle. And I was obviously riding it. The lowest I rode that bike was 11,000 feet.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's in fuel injection, so it's not going to matter that much. But imagine being here at like sea level.
Oh yeah. I actually have ridden it quite a lot at sea level. It's a cracker. It's an
so
absolute cracker.
smooth,
Yeah.
It's responsive.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with it. I really
Yeah.
was. So that's two things. I'd say the suspension is probably the other thing that
Yeah.
surprised me.
Yeah. Soaks up everything.
It sucks. Yes, it sucks everything up. And I think of all places to test that, the Himalayas does it really well.
Yeah.
Because you will be on the most beautiful tarmac, like a MotoGP tracks quality tarmac that the Indian Army have just put in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going all these twisties, you're swimming around, and then suddenly you'll get to a section of road with zero warning that there is no road.
Yeah.
It's just into
Yeah.
like potholes and
Yeah.
gravels. And
Yeah.
so there are a few occasions where you hit it a little bit faster than
Yeah.
maybe you should, but the bike doesn't care. And on the intercoms, I was often at the front because I was navigating. Be like, off-road! We'd be like, boom, 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 boom. It just sucks it all up.
Yeah. A good thing about this bike is all you have to do is get on the foot pegs, get on the seat,
Yeah.
and you continue at the same pace that you were on tarmac off-road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hit tarmac, sand, gravel, water crossings, fesh, ice,
Yeah.
slush, snow. Didn't bat an eyelid.
Would you like to comment anything about the fuel range of the tank? Because, you know, it just keeps going on forever.
Yeah, we really tested its fuel range one day. When
Yeah.
we got to the petrol station, we had 9 kilometers range left,
Wow.
which is not far in the Himalayas.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were getting, was it 300 kilometers, I think? Bearing in mind, we were pushing it through
Right.
some,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
terrain.
Yeah.
But with a 17-litre tank, it
Mm-hmm.
was, you want a coffee before it wants a
That's true.
fuel,
That's
for
true.
sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
And if you were to talk about some of the improvements that you could possibly see Royal Enfield making in this motorcycle, was there anything that, you know, you
From
would
the
want them to...
previous one
No,
or from
no,
the
this
next
one,
one?
from this ride. Was there anything on the motorcycle that you think Royal Enfield can improve?
Oh God, I'm gonna look like you're paying me, but I think it's a fantastic bike.
Yeah.
They're not paying me to say this, by the way. I genuinely really enjoyed that.
I'm not getting paid either.
So I think so I got asked on stage yesterday with Louis, what would you modify if you owned it?
Right, yeah.
And I would put wraparound handguards on.
Yeah.
I drop burner bikes and levers and
Yeah.
just a pain when you snap them, and if you for a simple wraparound handlebar.
Yeah.
But I believe you have an adventure kit and a rally
Yeah,
kit.
it's right behind you.
Well, there we go. So I just put them on it, which is
Yeah.
something that you
Yeah.
can do straight from new.
Yeah.
And that's probably all. I'd possibly change the tyres.
Yeah, yeah.
Something a little bit more off-road orientated,
Yeah.
but it's not like I had a problem. When I
Right.
saw the tyres in Leh, I was like, are we not doing off-roading this week? And Abhilasha was like, yeah, but these tyres are good. And I was like, okay. And yes, she was right.
No, it's surprising how good these are. I did Nepal on these tires, and I didn't miss knobbies there, to be
Yeah.
very honest. You know, you say that you've ridden the world over. Would you say the Himalayas were a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more challenging than some of the other places, some of the other high mountain passes, maybe the Andes, the Dolomites? There's a lot more drama here.
So there was a day where we were 20 kilometres from the accommodation, we're nearly there, and then we just get to a landslide and a load of diggers, and we're like, cool, I think we're going to get to our accommodation after dark now. And we managed to persuade the digger drivers with very limited English that we were good riders,
Yeah.
and that if they just moved a few bits of those rocks, we could hard enduro over
Right.
and get through. 'Cause
Right.
they weren't good, the cars weren't going to get through for hours. And yeah, bless them, they did it, and we broke through.
So was language a barrier at all anywhere else? Because, you know, it can be a little challenging while trying to navigate your way through talking to, you know, the diggers on the road.
No, I feel like there's the human's ability to communicate through kind of gestures and tone
Right.
and pointing and stuff. there was never a point where we were like, I really wish we could actually just communicate.
Right,
And
right.
so many people speak English too.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
it wasn't a problem. I don't think it was a barrier.
yeah.
I did feel a little bit like I should have maybe learnt more of the language or any of the language before I got there. But I mean, sometimes I can't remember my own name, let alone another language.
So this question is a little bit unfair, but if you were to select, what part of the Himalayas did you enjoy the most? You did go up to the highest motorable road in the world. You did go through Zanskar. You did go through Shinkula, but they all bring with them a different kind of terrain. Anything in particular? What was the most memorable?
I really enjoyed following the Indus River. The extremes of the canyon, the
Yeah.
colour, the turquoise colour of the raging water and the boulders, the road. And sometimes it was a beautiful paved road, sometimes it was incredible ruggedness and you have overhanging rocks.
Yeah.
I'd say that was probably a really big highlight.
When we look at videos, we see a lot of riding, but there's a lot of hard work that goes behind being a content creator, stopping, shooting videos, everything. Could you just tell us a little bit about that? How do you approach all of that?
With a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I think some people think, oh, you just post pictures on social media and it's really easy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of organisation, working with brands, pitching ideas, pulling the funds together, the logistics, organising everything. And the reality is that you're doing sort of bucket list trips
Right.
on a frequent basis, and most people will take a couple of years to plan some of these trips.
Right, yeah.
And I'm having to do them sort of back to back. Not saying that's a negative way, but there's a lot of planning that goes into every weekend, every week.
Right.
The volume of content, the amount of SD cards, the amount of footage and videos that you've got to go through. And if you take a typical day, even worse when I'm doing the racing, you're doing the full day's
Yeah.
adventure, which in India we were averaging 11 and a half hours on the bike each day. You've then still got to do editing, content
Yeah,
creation,
true.
replying to messages and
Yeah.
comments, actually writing stuff, organising all the SD cards,
Right.
charging batteries on top of all of that.
It's exhausting.
Navigating the next
Yeah.
day. There's a lot that goes into it, and I'm very
Right.
grateful that I'm able to do this and I'm able to share, and that people are interested to hear my story. And I just really hope that every bit that I do helps encourage and inspire somebody else to get up and go do something.
Right,
as well.
perfect.
That's my goal.
I have one quick question for you, one last question, and then I've been asked to wrap up.
Yeah.
You've ridden the motorcycle enough now in some of the most arduous terrains our country has to offer.
Yeah.
Do you see it doing well here in Europe, here in Britain? It can do motorway speeds, you've seen
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It can handle its way around an off-road course. It has a great entry price. Do you see it working here where a lot of other motorcycles are available?
I think it will sell like hot potatoes.
Yeah.
I think it is such an accessible bike. It's affordable. If you think about the volume that you are creating them and testing them in India, the scale of that testing ground for the reliability of the bike, it's there, and I think they look really good as well.
Yeah,
I
they
think
do.
it ticks so many boxes, unfortunately, so I feel like they will do really well. And for a lot of people, the big adventure bikes are really intimidating. They're a lot
Yeah.
of money, you don't want to risk dropping them. I think it's an ace option.
All right.
You'll do really well.
All right. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Thanks for having me.
I had a great time. Thank you.